You're asked sort of a complicated question. Does the Holy Bible say the world will collapse before the 1,000 years of peace arrives? It does and it doesn't, because there's two stages. There's the one where Christ arrives, where he comes back the second time and ushers in the faithful into heaven. It's a time where the world is in chaos and will be there. So it's a collapse of sorts. And those that are true believers go into heaven. And this is a spiritual existence. And Christ will reign for 1,000 years. And we who are his people will reign with him. Now, part of that is in heaven and part of that may be on earth. And that's where this question comes in. But it's never 100% peace. There's always some corruption. And we're told about this in chapter 20 of Revelation. But when we get to chapter 21, which is where the key really comes in, is that God creates a new heaven and a new earth. Why? To eliminate all corruption, all disobedience. Not because God is forcing it, like when he comes back, will reign with an iron rod. That's not what we're talking about. In chapter 21, we're talking about a new heaven and a new earth where only the true believers go, and that will be peace forever and ever, because there'll be no death, no pain, no suffering. So if we go to take a look at this, we have to understand that this 1,000-year reign of Christ is in a mixture of spiritual and physical. And after this 1,000 years, it doesn't mean that everything will be peaceful, that everything will be perfect. But we will be part of that 1,000-year reign. And the only way that's going to happen is if we are spiritual. Because we don't live for 1,000 years. And this is part of living forever. And it's not going to be just those of us that are living here. It's also about those that are already in heaven. So we have to look at what this is. And maybe there'll be some humans on earth that are part of this, and they're going to die, then they become the spiritual side. I don't know. We're not told the details. Now, a lot of people have written the details, but the Bible doesn't really say that. So what we have to really focus upon is living in the heavenly will of God now. Not sometime in the future, but now. And then we move on automatically. If it's our physical, spiritual being who willingly wants to live in God's heavenly will, and we do to the best that we can. Now, granted, we live in a corrupt world. We're going to stumble. But after all of this, and even it's when Satan is released and corrupts the world and everything else, that's the point where God creates this new heaven and new earth. That's what we're told. Because he will be no longer He will be in outer darkness or wherever it is that God sends everybody else that reject him. That is that's after the 1,000-year reign, but that's when true peace comes upon us. Amen.